Hello everybody, it's Nim and welcome back to my channel. Today is Friday, so today we are doing Planet Zoo. And this day we are going to build a habitat for our saltwater crocodiles. We are finishing up the temple area today, and next week we have, well, 2 habitats left. We have one for the saltwater crocodiles and then we have one other habitat left. And I'm going to keep it a surprise which animals we are going to place in there. You will just have to watch the video next week and you can find out. But today we are making a habitat for a saltwater crocodile, and like I said, this is in the temple area, so we will be having like full habitats here. Like we had the llamas like on the other side of the temple, then we had the jaguars that are to the left of this, and then on this side we are going to have the saltwater crocodile and then our surprise animal, which I'm not telling yet. You'll find out next week. Ooh, exciting, stay tuned. So as a matter of fact, I'm just figuring out where to actually place the habitat gate, and we are using null barriers because I like using natural barriers. I don't really like using like the normal barriers. It's gonna sound really weird, but I don't want to do it all myself. I don't want to use the pre-made barriers. I want to build my own because I think that's actually really funny to do and I quite enjoy it. But sometimes it means some fiddling with the null barrier and trying to figure that out. So instead of going around the corner, we're actually just going through the water and then up again. So we will have to do some terrain manipulation there in a minute and working with some of the rocks. But before we do any of that, we are first going to make sure that the land actually looks nice. Now, I knew that we had a saltwater crocodile, so we needed more water than land. So we are making sure that we have a lot of water. What we're doing now is we are placing a custom window and sort of a barrier so that the people can just look through it. And I know I would have been able to use the glass barrier for that because we have it, but I think this is way more fun to do. Plus, it really makes me like step up my game and work on my skills because I need to work on my skills. I'm not that good yet with this game and I want to become better and like a pro at this game, so there you go. Also, if you didn't know, you probably know him, like Paul Slee, one of the, I think he's one of the amazing like Planet Zoo YouTubers that there is. He covered my zoo on his videos and I'm actually really happy for that. Like, I submitted it, but I never actually thought that he would cover my zoo because it was actually the first zoo that I ever made and that I completed, so it was very, I don't want to say amateuristic, but it was very like begin stadium me, so not that extravagant and as well thought out. This zoo, however, is really detailed, so but if you want to see him touring my zoo, he's saying some amazing things about my zoo and you can actually see the first zoo that I made. I will link his video at the end of this video or in the description down below. It's probably in the description down below, so just check out the description and it will be there, and make sure if you haven't already that you give him a follow because he's a really nice guy and I really appreciate his videos. So, and we are going back to our crocodile habitat. I was just checking how much they actually needed and what they all needed. And we are now going to build their indoor habitat for when it rains or storms or whatever, because, you know, we want our crocodiles to be comfortable. So we are building them with plaster pieces, and a very simple reason, because I can color those. I like coloring my items, so we are using those. And I think we're actually going to change it in a minute. Also, the crocodiles just arrived in there, so in a minute I can do the terrain manipulation and the terrain paint and stuff like that to make sure that everything works. So we are placing those round like wall pieces so that the people outside can like look in. So we're gonna put glass in them and then the people can look in and they can see the crocodiles in their habitat. So I thought that was actually pretty nice. We are placing some more open pieces just to make sure that they like can all enter. And this was when I finished it, I actually realized that the crocodiles were not able to go in. So we needed to remove some of the walls to make sure that they can actually go in and out, especially the male crocodile because he is so enormously big. Like, he's a really large animal. So we had to make sure that he fits in as well, otherwise he doesn't have an indoor habitat And I think that's actually pretty sad for him because, you know, it's a magnificent animal and he should be able to walk inside. And that's actually the male one that you can see lying there. You can see he's quite big. Quite big. So we are now just using all these random pieces of glass to make it when the light like shines on it, you get some nice shading. And for these round windows, we are going to put the octagonal window pieces in there. And again, just to make it look a little bit more natural. So for natural glass, so that guests can see properly into it and not have those weird lines. And then I realized he actually couldn't go in. We're gonna check again, and I think he still couldn't, so I had to remove another wall for that. But now he was able to go in finally. And then we only had to fix the problem of the fact that he could escape from the habitat, which of course shouldn't be the shouldn't happen, because it's quite dangerous for a crocodile to escape, because then he can just eat people. Now I wanted to work with some interesting pieces, and I ended up choosing for the Arctic pieces just because I really like this style of wood. So we are using this for decoration along like almost every single corner and angle of this inside habitat. It's not really a habitat, it's more like a sleeping place, as a matter of fact. And actually that beam made sure that he couldn't walk in anymore, so that was like really annoying. So we had to remove that out of there, and the crocodile's just chilling in the water, so you know, that's fine. We are now gonna color this building, and I think we're actually gonna make it green. Yeah, we are gonna make it green. And I don't know why, but when I hear crocodile, I immediately think of the color green. So for me, it was only logical that his entire like sleeping area would be green. Apart of course from the floor, but we are going to put a lot of grass or like hay on that actually, so that's completely fine. See, we're gonna cover it with that so they lie comfortable and not on the cold ground, because that would be a little bit weird. Obviously we are gonna need some more decorations on top of that crocodile habitat. So we are using the same beams again, and we are just gonna make sure that it is nicely decorated. And this is when I noticed that the building wasn't exactly straight, and it was placed in a really weird angle, but you know, we're gonna make it work. And in the end it actually worked out pretty good, and I'm actually quite proud of how it turned out. I mean, obviously there are points of improvement, but like, who doesn't have that, right? So, you know, it can all work out, and I actually think it looks really nice. I mean, maybe it's completely suitable for a crocodile with all the Arctic pieces, but I also think that it has something. I don't know, like, I like it. So I think now we are going to do the terrain paint as we are for a crocodile. And what I usually do is make everything green at the start, so then I can actually see what I'm doing, because otherwise you might have just a little bit of long grass somewhere and you don't know where. And that's so annoying, that is so annoying. I also find it really weird that some animals like need a lot of soil, and I really don't like the soil that much. When you use a lot of it, I think it looks like really weird. And I love green. Green is like a very pretty color, and I think that the grass textures in this game look actually really amazing. So I usually just want to use that. But he's happy now with all the terrain paint, so we are now filtering on his like biome and continent for the landscaping. And we are gonna make sure we are placing some bamboo there so that the guest won't be like looking from there, because it's a really weird angle to look from, because you can't actually see them, and then our guests will be complaining like, ooh, I can't see the animals from this angle. Like, no, walk around where you can actually see them. In a normal zoo, you would. If you see like, oh wait, the tiger is on that side of the habitat, you would walk to that side. You wouldn't write a complaint I couldn't see the tiger. No, because obviously the tiger wasn't there at that moment. But you know, whatever. We are gonna use like some foliage, like not that much, because crocodiles actually don't like that much. I think they are like good with 25% foliage in their entire habitat, and we are gonna use it up to 25% because I love habitats that have like plants, and it takes like a little while to actually look for the animals. I also really like these tropical rocks. Like, I know that we're in a temperate biome, and I always say, ooh, if you're in a temperate biome, make sure you use the temperate rocks. But I actually think that for the crocodiles, this works really well with their natural colors and all the colors of foliage that I used. Even with the Sahara ones, I think it blends in really well. I do believe we are going to use like some temperate ones in a little while, just to make sure that it actually blends in. Also, I was actually really surprised that the animals aren't able to walk up the stairs, because I actually imagined them to be able to, and I was like, ooh, that would be really awkward. And also, to blend it in a little bit more, we are making sure that we are placing some temple pieces, just to make sure that it's one big cohesive thing and it's not just randomly there. You know, because once this entire thing was a giant temple, and now like half of it is habitat and half of it is still temple with a food court inside. So if you haven't seen me building any of the other habitats or the food courts, make sure you check it out. There will be a playlist linked down below, and also at the end of the video where you can click on. So you can check out the other episodes in this zoo. This is going to be the WoodLand Zoo, and that is also my dream zoo. So I'm going to build a zoo the way I like it and with all the animals I really like. We are now just quickly naming this habitat saltwater croc, so it's easier for me to work with, like, oh, I forgot, work zones. Easy to work zones for me. I just think it's easier to name every habitat like after its animal. Otherwise you're gonna have like, ooh, animal escaped from habitat 8, and I'm like, what's habitat 8? You know, as you always do. I think we're almost halfway at this video, and we still have quite a bit to do. We are now gonna place some donation bins, and like, it's always guessing where the guests are gonna stand. It's always a big guess, because you never really sure, are you? Because sometimes the guest stands in like really weird places. So we are also gonna build some education boards. And look, our second crocodile just arrived, and the people thought that our zoo tickets were really cheap. So we are upping the price a bit, because we can't have the people thinking our zoo tickets are cheap. We need to make money. That's very important, obviously. So now we are just obviously telling every speaker to give us information about the saltwater crocodile, because you don't suddenly want to stand there and they were like, oh wait, this is about a kangaroo or something. Also, I realized that the habitat next door had like a lot of water in it, and I didn't know why. So it was because like the ground didn't like close off properly, so it was just suddenly all water. So it took some fiddling around, and I cut it out because it wasn't really interesting to see. And I think that is like most of our habitat. We are now just gonna look at our crocodile, because let's be honest, this crocodile is like really amazing. We are gonna do some little small tweaks. We're gonna place some logs, because you know, people in the Amazon usually confuse crocodiles for logs, so I thought it would be really funny if I just place some logs in the water, so then the guests will also be like, oh my god, look, this crocodile, and then it was actually a piece of wood. I thought that would be really funny. And I was pleasantly surprised that it didn't affect like the traversable area from the animals. In a moment, however, we are gonna have a big problem with the traversable area from our male crocodile, because all of a sudden he isn't able to go into the water anymore, which is really weird. So I don't know why that's happening, but suddenly he can't go anymore. So I tried removing some logs and placing them over, but it just didn't work, and it was really weird. And then all of a sudden he goes into the water, and then he like doesn't go out anymore. So now he has like this teeny tiny space, and it's all of a sudden that's his only like traversable area. So we are going to have to move over some of the rocks and some of the plants, just to make sure that he can actually move, and he isn't stuck to that small little bit, which is really weird, because at first he could walk there and then suddenly he couldn't. So at this point I realized that I had to actually remove the water and make sure it was all a bit smoother and flatter. And then I realized, like, wait, why can't I add the water in there? Because it was the other crocodile was in there. And now he has like big land, but he hasn't got any water. So we are removing some logs, removing the water again, and then making it very smooth, and just hoping that will fix it. I mean, you never know, but luckily it did fix it. And he could now use the backside of the water and not this bit in the front. And I couldn't figure it out how to let him use everything. So we are just rolling with it. And he is only able to use that, what you are seeing right now. And then his lady companion will have the ability to use more, and that is completely fine. We are now just nicing up the path around it because we also want that to look nice, obviously. So we are giving it some foliage and some plants and trees and bushes, just making sure that it's really nicely blended into this entire themed area. And once we are done with this foliage, we're actually going to build a waterfall on the right side of this habitat, just to give that just to give it a little bit more, because it was looking pretty bland now. You also notice that this was first a staff path, but I made it into a visitor's path also, so just that the guests would be able to walk here and look at the animals from here as well, because I noticed that they were actually sitting quite back in the habitat and you want to be able to see them from everywhere, so, you know, there's that. Just making sure a little bit more terrain paint with some sands and that it's all nicely covered. And then we are actually going to firstly place this bamboo so that the people can't see the staff area. And then we are actually going to start on our waterfall. And I have to say I'm quite proud of this waterfall. I have made a lot of waterfalls, like almost every habitat in my zoo has a waterfall because I love waterfalls. But the way that I am actually building the next waterfall, I'm really proud of it. And we are making this really good transfer from a desert tropical area to a temperate continent and biome. And I think we actually did that quite good. So we still have some tropical trees here, but the further you get back, the more you're gonna have temperate foliage and trees and temperate rocks as well. So the water that you see here is going to be the base for our waterfall. We are gonna place some of, I've still forgot what they're called. I want to call them cigars. They're not cigars. I forgot again. I can never remember that name. And obviously some lilies in the water. Did you actually know, fun fact, cats can actually die of lilies because of some poison or whatever is in it. It's actually poisonous for cats. So that was actually, I didn't know that. Obviously I knew it when I was 12 or something. I found that out, so that was quite surprising, and I remembered ever since, and I just remembered never to put lilies in the pond that I have in the backyard because I also have cats. So never put lilies where there are cats because they will die from it. So if you have cats, don't give them lilies, don't do it. So you can see me building the waterfall and the rock parting that is part of it. And I actually think it was really nice and covered and varied. It's really quite nice. I can't say anything else about it. I just really like it. I think the variation in rocks is really nice. The way they blend in, it really looks like this big rock with just some little rocks. I like the way it looks. I'm sorry guys, but I really like it. I'm gonna keep saying it, but all these, you have this, I started with the big rocks, right? So you see me placing the big rocks here. And then after I place all these giant rocks, I'll go in with some smaller rocks. So you see me doing this right there. And then when I went in with the medium rocks, I go in with the tiny rocks, as you see me doing right here. And the way that what you do with that is you create a really varied amount of rocks, and it looks really nice. I mean, look how awesome that looks. And obviously we are making this into a little waterfall, and we want to have the illusion that the waterfall is coming from that little pond that is in the back of the hill. And I can never actually find the foam and the midsection for the waterfall, so I'm quite happy that it didn't took me forever to find it. So there you go, that is a waterfall. We are actually gonna place this little fountain pieces in front of it, so you have it really extra feel. And it wasn't completely centered, but I couldn't click on it, so I was like, you know what, I don't care, whatever. And now we are gonna do some terrain paint, as you saw me doing the habitat as well. And in the other habitats, I always start off with some rock around it, just to make sure that it's blended in. Then some sand or soil, and then lastly some grass, or when there's a snowy area, I will probably cover it with snow, you know. So now we are using our temperate biome foliage, and we are making sure that the transfer is like really smooth. So we are using some temperate trees and temperate bushes and plants, and in the front we have our tropical ones, just to make sure that it looks really neat and really nice. And I'm actually quite surprised of the way that it looks. I think it looks really like nice, and I keep saying nice, but it looks awesome. I'm really proud of this habitat. I know that's probably not as exciting to watch as the like jaguar habitat, but I really think that it looks really nice. I'm so proud of myself. I really think it looks really nice. So there is that. Just placing the finishing rocks and then some benches, and there we are in our cinematics, guys. So I will leave you guys to it. Enjoy the cinematic of our saltwater crocodiles, and I will hope to see you guys next time. Bye, guys.